Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, the April 10th Sewer Authority, St. Peter Sewer Authority, and Stormwater Authority. Present up front is Vinny Patel, Brett Stoltzfus, Todd Dump, Brett Clark, and from the township, we have Hutch, Charlie, and Tara, and our engineer, Matt Cici. I'd like you all to join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Any comments on the minutes from March 13th? They will stand approved as written, and we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Fred, for the sewer authority, we have bills that need paid in the amount of $6,675.32. And as of the end of March, we have a checking account balance of $10,642.69.
And requisition.
So we have one requisition number 03-639. Table of public exchange for the post pump station elimination survey and base pump station upgrade registration total amount of $11,155.10.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills and requisitions. I'll second. We have a motion second. All in favor, say aye. Stormwater bills.
We have bills that need paid in the amount of $7,949.71. And as a checking account balance, we have $329,101.66.
We have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills for the stormwater. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Old business. First up is under sanitary sewers, Falcon Run upgrade.
Just to advise the authority, as we discussed the last month meeting, township staff has procured some link seals to all the intermediate floor to help reduce vibration. That would tighten up the piping that penetrates through the floor with the surrounding floor itself. We're looking to get the end of this week as a rain day activity. So we proceed with that. And then report that the vibration is still present after that. It looks like filling the support knobs up with the same and we do well with other pipes from that piping as well to help stiffen that up to reduce the vibration that's occurring. So we're going to take it one step at a time to see. I should say, see if that works. Okay. The project was submitted on it, project. Hopefully, at the next month's meeting, we'll be able to close that project.
Good. Okay, CFA funding for Oaks number 2. Up around what type? Hobson Road.
So the O2, HRG completed the aerial, the UAV, to survey that project site. So that's been done, and now that information is going to, processing information is currently underway. What I would see happening next month is notification of the homeowners in here that the project. Our surveyors have to get boots on the ground then to get in and collect that other additional information, help supplement what they can. So, and have all that input into the baseball. Best route for that sewer through there. And once that's done, come back to the authority for all these.
Where that pipe is bored, do we have to do easements in that area?
Yes,
Even when it's,
correct.
yeah,
There's, you have stock,
yeah,
but what's underneath the road itself is, probably permit.
okay, so it's not really an easement, but I was just wondering, because you're never gonna get to.
We're still occupying private property, wherever.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna, either side of them. That would be an easement for that area there.
Okay. Any questions on Oaks 2?
Many of you know Richard Nisling.
My family knows him well.
He's the property.
Why?
Stuff.
Tough's not the word.
It's an interesting.
Awesome. Awesome.
And what, we need easements off of that? Will we need any manholes and things like that?
Yes,
So on the other side or to the one on the.
probably, I think here is probably sides of the highway. I'll have manholes.
In the middle, with some straight on the off ramp to one.
Yeah.
Like no man's, but he's going to come.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Unless he softens a little.
Ultimately, there's, the authority obviously has the ability to obtain the easement
Yeah,
through combination if you need
right.
to. But,
He's just one of those people that just likes to make things difficult.
fair compensation would keep.
Okay. So 1. Lancaster County ARP.
Oh. With the 2 other items there, Stalford Run went well. Still working on developing the proposal for that. Hope to have that in next meeting. Move forward with that project. But in your packet, there is a whole project assignment for the Hobson Road sewer lining project. This project is to line approximately 515 feet of sewer main between manhole F44 and F346. It also includes rehabilitation of 4 associated sewer manhole areas that line is proposing that the construction of that is solicited through CoStar's program for that there, so it's basically only performing the design needed to obtain the quotes through the code fund. But looking at the design phase, and having township staff complete the CCTV inspection of sewer mains, we need to perform inspections review that information. I'm assuming right now that we don't need to get any field survey in that area, that there's no data prepares, everything can be done just through exhibits. Review that information, develop the necessary exhibits and tech specs to obtain the quotes there through CoStars. Procure there for CoStars and then assist with the construction of that. Administration of that through CoStars. We haven't discussed with the township staff. They want to perform the RPR or not, but we can certainly do that. If they want to do. What we're looking at is having that ready to listen to CoStar's quotes, basically within 2 months of getting that data from the township to try to get that year completed this summer. And, the compensation there, $15,200 for design, 100, 9,000 for construction administration, for a total of 8,300.
For that project, Richard.
The no.
One report from monthly sign.
All of the for application.
Okay.
This was one of those.
Same grant.
They only awarded a portion of asked for in the grant. So the authority went through, I forget, there were 6 or 8 different possible projects, and they picked out the 3 that we were going to complete. So I forget exactly what total. There's some $1,000, including the authority's match to the grant. I don't remember what the amount was for this project in particular.
That's all right. Just
I think it was the construction. I can certainly look.
any other questions on that FA funding? Hampshire County ARPA funding agreement.
That's something the authority likes to pursue.
Oh, you want us to vote on?
I think he wants.
Yeah. Please accept. Administration.
Yeah, you can. I'll second your motion.
Second, any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. ARPA fund.
At this point, we still have not heard back from the county commissioners on final paperwork. We submitted all our stuff at the last month's meeting with signatures and everything they needed with a response from the commissioners and acceptance of the check.
Will you get a cardboard check, Charlie, or you get a physical check?
I think Rick thought. But in the meantime, I did receive another email. A resident system failed.
Where we were.
Just outside the. So I said that's something that so I think it's outward out 2 inches north of the end of the project.
Neighbor complaining about the neighboring properties system failing.
Well, probably with all that rain we had a couple weeks ago and water table comes up and
They were getting a strong odor and indication of.
Grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Grass is always higher. He sent a picture.
Okay,
Sent that information on the map. We don't know what that would do with the project. It was supposed to be in our gravity portion of it, but
That, so in your, there's an exhibit. Which is a back there. This was, in the exhibit, there's little green GP beach house at this project. This was the scope that the authority had previously approved. The properties are intending to be served by the low pressure system. And property to the, looking at the page, the next house to the left, which is off the imagery, is the property that that's the address to notify township. And complaint of systems having issues, the next property beyond it. So I think we would have to extend roughly maybe 200, 300 feet of pipe further down Strasburg Pike to pick that house up. I think at a minimum, we'd have 2 houses, maybe 4 would then be within your 150-foot connection distance. As far as where that's located, based upon the imagery of the picture that was submitted, it looks like that sits in the back of the house and that sits a little bit lower than the grade. So even if that was in the area of the gravity system, it could be tied into this low pressure system. I mean, not really impacting the overall functionality of the system. It chose to extend it beyond there to those other things. Something that could be done.
I assume we're in design phase of this.
Well, I had, last thing you asked me to prepare a proposal, which I have included in the packet here. We talked about property. We include, and the base mapping. Did not, when this was pulled together, I limited to this area. I didn't include the other homes because that typically is. But that's something that we can really do. Would also include the design phase, permitting that is needed, and it's a small project that is on many permits. Minimum permits, you have DEP water management permit, construct the system because it's a low pressure system. And February, DEP issued their final trenches technology guidance document that basically says you're in a project that involves trenches technology. This project proposed or intended that way, so installing those mains, utilizing horizontal direction drilling as a benefit for crossing the creek. We're only talking 2-inch, 3-inch piping. DEP's released a guidance document that provides a lot of basically due diligence work to make sure that that drilling method doesn't impact the think the exist the most advantageous methods are, for proceeding with this construction. So we could look at a culvert dam approach and excavation across Mill Creek. We get culvert dam after something there that they call it a guidance document. They say that when they're reviewing the permit applications, you should be considered have you consider all these documents. So what we've currently phase right now is 4 geotechnical borings, 2 on either side of the creek, to go down and say what kind of material we'll be getting into is soil is a rock. It's there. And then also geophysics investigation where they put probes and they do electrical resistivity to try to find the pieces in between of what's in. They're looking for karst topology, karst mills, trying to define what's in this area. So I'll try to explain the geophysics better. Electrical resistivity survey. It provides the resistivities and the subsurface features that can be made. And this correlates to various geological phenomena, sediments, water interfaces, rocks, and void spaces. So I think they're looking to see as the contractors drilling, are there void spaces down here where they're drilling like into go elsewhere. When it comes to the surface, would it get down into the aquifer, things along those lines, or is it likely to be contained just within the area?
We don't have a choice.
I guess there's always a choice. You could try to.
But I guess what I'm hearing is this is the first time you've done a permit, so you really don't. It's going to be involved.
Or this guidance document's been published or released, so
Really know what you're going to get into.
correct. They
Quoted.
Well, and they said, this is what we think we need. They said there's some other stuff they could also look into, but we're saying, hey, we're not gonna do that just yet. It was down, camp logging. So they actually take, after they drill, they geotech tours, they take a camera and send it down and try to look at it and catalog what's there. Looking at fracture trace analysis and geologic reviews of the whole area.
Who reviews all this stuff?
So this is, we don't get this in-house. We both hire.
And does DEP review this?
They want to see the information submitted and basically saying that the authority did its due diligence.
They don't review it. Where are you going? Really?
This is our first time getting into it. We said, hey, like, we're looking at this stuff here, like, we don't think we have to do all of it, but at least I think the board would be good, because that would tell them how to encounter what they're going to deal with and be helpful during the construction.
So none of that is included in this.
In the proposal, I broke it out by phases. The design and permitting phase that looks at surveying the site itself, surveying the area. Actually, the surveyors would have a John boat in Mill Creek so they can survey the creek bed to understand how deep it is in that area. That's needed for the permitting purposes of DEP. They would survey the property as well. All includes sending letters to the property owners to understand where their outlet systems are, as well as their wells. So we can show that on there. On the other things that and then laying out and permanent locations. Water point into the general permits for the stream crossing. E&I, investigation and delineation, and then the HOP. So for that, estimated fee is $98,500. Investigation. Use the funds for that fee. We're proposing. We've worked a lot with ECS on other projects to do the boring and stuff. On 5,000 up at 20,000 is ECS, or 20,700 is ECS, and 3,300 is HRG, And then bid phase, 7,500.
Contract expiration would be,
Put that together, yeah, just wanted to look at contract information.
Big permit, like you had planned to do. Other info came along, and then at that point, if they want more info, get it to them then.
I think at a minimum, I would at least do, I look at doing a couple of the borings, because again, I think that's good information for the contractors to know when your rock or they can sort. Maybe we don't electrical resistivity, but we at least go to DEP and say, hey, let's just look at here's the borings that we did and that information and take it a piecemeal approach. And if they want more, we can look at that. And just like that.
I like that idea.
And where we're doing the other two would be on the property. It's proposed to be on the property of the public void tank that initially came to the authority. So hoping there they wouldn't have objections to getting onto the property for that purpose right now.
Yeah.
Currently, survey the entire property. Construction. If the authority installing grinders, the authority contract installing grinders, or they may be provided them to have. Say, hey, here's a grinder, purchase it for you, have your plumber install it. If that's the case, we may be able to reduce some of the survey if needed.
Isn't there precedent on that? How it's been done before?
Been a while, since the authority did these, it actually predates me. So, I think what was done before is that the authority supplied.
I thought we just supplied. In fact, I remember years ago, like buying so many so that we had the right ones. And then the plumber just came and picked it up and put it in.
Yeah, we may have even dropped everything off.
Or dropped off. I just remember bidding or buying so many grinder pumps so that we had the right ones and the same ones because the electric box was changing and
There's, and then
that would fit and that.
And the system, so we didn't have to have all supply.
Right. And, so,
you're correct. There was. The authority used to benefit on contract purchases of ABS pumps, where you would stock some because you were purchasing in addition to Upper Laycock. So there was a benefit in buying all of that. As a development for building new house needed one, I think you guys supplied it, they may have reimbursed or I'm not sure how it worked for those development projects. For authority extension project is here. Should. But
wasn't there also something once upon a time where we had one thing specified, but yet there was another out here that was half the money?
that's where you switched. Like they switched it. Now there's your current grinder pumps, and that is all through multiple suppliers. So homeowner, plumber can go and pick that.
I think we changed that up. I had to come from somebody.
Somebody, the price was getting so high. I remember.
Yeah, it was steel.
Yeah.
But I think it was like Thomas.
Kaiser, yeah, Brad Kaiser's in here and it actually made sense. And why are we spending so much more for it? So, yes, we would supply grinder pump and let them install it.
It's different authorities do different things. And right now, they had our surveyors scope it out as if they were surveying the entire area.
I would rather do it that way because that's the way it's been done before. Once you start this way, then you got to do it that way all the time.
I guess the depth of the tank could be different. We just say we're gonna supply a 8-foot tank or whatever it is, and then they have to put it on where everything's going.
Yeah, so I think from that, your property's with slope, but you have basement service.
Mhm.
You may be able to put the tank part of the hill, and basement service, if you have a flat ground, basement service, you would need a 10-foot deep tank in the basement or a 12-foot. That could potentially be investigated during the design phase by sending out information to homeowners to license and figure that out. Or just,
People may be able, if it's not a basement service, they may be able to use their plumbing to get out a different way. We're not wanting those tanks to be in the floodplain. So
I don't think that would be a problem anywhere there. Would
floodplain,
it? I mean, doesn't it go down pretty steep?
yeah, there's floodplain in those.
Yeah, but that's,
The tank
yeah,
location.
yeah. I mean, when
It's possible to do it without being in the floodplain, I think, but yeah.
They sell risers for those tanks. If it comes straight across the 48-foot, you can get a 2-foot. That.
We definitely want the top of the tank out of the floodplain. So, top of the creek.
You know, specification calls for 6 inches above grade too, so.
And we have specifications on how they're installed. So we supply it, here's our specifications. Right. Your responsibility. Okay.
Yeah, those, I guess that would reduce the,
it reduces the amount we need to survey and, yeah. If the authority wants the project scope changes, I mean, it's the time and materials, so we should survey further down, strategy might pick up a couple more.
I would suggest that you go at least to the location of this problem that was just recently identified.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got, you know, about to start, so it's legally.
You know, the suggestion would be if you're going to authorize or approve the proposal that you ask them to not do any work until we have the full agreement from the county on the grant.
Yeah, still don't have the signed paperwork back from them yet.
They get sneaky sometimes if you start work before everything.
Okay. So you'd want to, we can vote approval conditional upon county.
Right.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to accept this proposal. Fine. And permitting phase, geotechnical phase, sitting phase. Project contingent upon work from the county.
And that the geotechnical is done in stages. Right, with the borings first.
We'll do it first, we'll do the geophysics.
Right. And we do as little as possible. I think we can get it back to more. It's basically an hourly proposal anyhow, so. Okay. Question?
Just one question, Matt. The total project's 131,000 if we did all three of those things, right?
I did.
Yeah, you did second. All those in favor say aye.
Thank you. Just lamenting that I wish we had known about this one before we submitted the grant application.
Yeah, when that email came across,
We'll have to figure out the full funding of the project. There's going to be front foot assessments or the whole thing is going to get funded.
Three properties now that are failing
And we know of it.
that we know about. Or is it
At
four?
least.
One.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's, needs to be done.
Bad circumstance.
Uh,
Yep. Okay. Moving on, approval of, beauty bid equipment to be sold.
yeah, on municipal, also for South Run to put it on the government website for auction. And those things. There's some, yeah, those are the 75. So it's a total $952 since you gave the permission because of already has the record. That's good for good numbers,
Motion, we got the price.
basically.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bids, on, municipal bid for the items we had listed.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Stormwater.
So while DEP was busy making policy guidelines for the borings, they have not been as busy getting us new guidance for stormwater or MS4 requirements for the next permit cycle. The word on the street is that the permit will be extended another year, so till 2026.
How many extensions has that been?
That will be 2 if they do move forward with that.
They just don't have the staff to do this?
They just don't have the staff or they don't have the direction that's needed yet to move forward or both. So as soon as we know something, we'll share that with you.
Kara's on hold right now.
I'm on hold.
Okay, okay, now new business, sanitary sewer partners meeting.
We attended the quarterly city partners meeting yesterday. There's copies of the handouts from the meeting were provided in your board packets. But just to highlight some specific project information. Two of the partners, LASA and Upper Lake are making a hydraulic penalty because their flows are exceeding what their allocated capacity is in the system. Treatment plant chlorine scrub replacement and generator project. Moving forward, 49%. CDM reported one issue they've discovered is their intended location for the chlorine scrubber was not going to work because of the underground utilities in that area, the plant. So they evaluated them. Relocate some of those utilities down to make that work. But that's going to result in a revision to the design, necessitating more work, set a change order for that additional work and support the company. But they do anticipate 100% design completion and bidding as expected this summer for that project. They're in the process of leading the treatment plant oxygen generation plant improvement. That's work that oxygen plant generates oxygen basically for the treatment process, the biological process. That equipment has basically a 1 year cycle. It's more substantial. Through this process, they discovered that their 5-year maintenance cycle, they're going to have to do a little bit more work than they were anticipating. What they discovered doing this year, they wanted to bring that up just to let us know that they did discover that. What more information be forthcoming? They've received their permit for the secondary clarifier number 6, return sludge pump station. They're working towards completion of final bidding around September of this year. The facilities plan is moving forward. They're working on updating the solids handling process side of the equipment of the treatment plant. So you have a liquid side of the treatment water. All the solids need to get treated as well. They're working on selecting the equipment needed for that. They're looking to expand the nutrient capacity. The number they talked about yesterday was up to 29 billion gallons per day. But in order to make that happen, they'll have to put in additional treatment tanks at the plant to be able to handle that flow rate.
And they have space there to do that.
They've had a space for the clarifier project they're doing. I think they obtained that from PP&L. They did not mention that this treatment to train. They didn't mention anything about space yesterday. They did say that the treatment plant can handle a peak flow right now, 54 million gallons. So they said with some of the recent rain we've been having, see how we're supposed to do that. And actually see it go through that plant on a daily basis. With the Conestoga Gardens interceptor, the Conestoga interceptor, the city is going to be, they're finalizing their response to the comments that we provided with respect to the interceptor investigation. And the escrow amounts. Should have a summary between that for this week here. Other all look at the formal numbering process. I guess with respect to that as well, the authority here will need to provide with this common or that last month with Solicitor Creed. So if the authority's position or comments back, will have to be compiled and sent back. Decision on that. The South clarifier upgrades, 100% design plans are nearing completion, and permits be submitted to the township next, and it's bid in June. They're making both men's and women's lockers there. Design at the 90% level they have permits, and the township there indicated that facilities updated to the ADA requirements, so they're going back to that. The city said it wasn't initially submitted or designed that way because the building wasn't. The whole building wasn't constructed to be able to meet those requirements, so they're putting a modification to be able to achieve that. And finally, the south screen improvements, they completed the 30% design. 90% design is anticipated in July. And they did discover in the process, though, that a lot of grit is building up prior to the screens, impacting flows, getting to it. So they're all going to be working on incorporation, a way to mitigate that grit deposition before the screens as well. So a lot of and if you look at the construction fund and the estimates there, I shouldn't say yeah, from this either $12,000. Your share of those right.
About half of that is their estimate of improvements or work that'll be needed on that interceptor line after the condition assessment. I don't know where they came up with 6 million, but they did, so that number's, I don't know if it's a yard to the wall or where they came up with it, but once the condition assessment is known, that number will become more fixed.
You really think it could be within 3 years?
I would think later this year, they want to get out there to do condition assessment, so it's probably at the end of the 3-year cycle, I would say.
Okay. What meeting? No action, nothing at this point.
We've been working internally, they've asked for additional information on their billing and the number of EDUs on the separate parcels that they're planning to redevelop. So we needed to gather more information, and we'll have to get back to them with that before we can bring a final agreement document back to you. Yes. One of my questions is still you. Or directives. If and how much you would want to credit them with portion of or all of the tapping fee as they proposed in their original submission. Based on the expectation that they'll be.
I think I'd feel better during that question when you get an idea more of the scope of work.
Until the flow is known and the capacity and how much work needs to be done to create whatever
But
capacity.
isn't the agreement, basically that we would up to the additional EDU charge? Forget what it said. No, what was that?
So what they proposed was that the full amount of the tapping fee that they would have to pay
Would
for the
go-
new units would be credited toward the cost of whatever improvements are needed
Mhm.
to create capacity to serve the development.
And is that, but that's the limit of our expenses up to the total of the EDUs.
Well, plus the cost of the study,
Study,
they wanted
right.
to be reimbursed for that. If the cost of the improvements wasn't covered by tapping fee credit. So there are some.
Right, so if there's
Yes.
1.4 million in tapping fee and there's 1.6 million in construction, who pays the 200,000?
There was about $1 million in tapping fee that was going to be created. The amount of the construction is unknown at this point.
I'd hate to go on the hook for all of it, not knowing what it's going to be.
I agree, and
I'd rather just go on the hook for what the tapping fee would be. We agree to credit that all towards the.
you can certainly do that. From my perspective, I think that's too much.
Okay.
The tapping fee is split. Now it's developed between the costs associated with collection and conveyance, and then the cost for collection for treatment. So the treatment you're still going to have. So I don't know the exact numbers, but it's about half
Yeah,
for each. So the treatment portion, I personally would not include in how much they could get back.
I would agree with that.
The other portion of it, if you want to expose that, I can understand that
The treatment side was just under 13.
Of the total.
2650.
For the 2650, so it was about 250.
so
I'm fine with that.
we can go back to them with the revisions to the document indicating that, if that's your preference.
I mean, they have a problem with that?
I agree with that approach.
I agree. I mean, it sounds pretty fair because bottom line is they want to put a development in, you know.
So then the other part of that, then we want them, we had this discussion a couple of months ago, so I hate to go over again, but do you want them to pay for the study, or does the authority want to pay?
I would think the study should be part of the whole construction, you know, number. Because you can't, that study will be part of knowing what you have to do, the design phase of construction. The benefit you're picking up is letting them do the construction at non-prevailing wage. And so they would save a little bit there by doing it. And maybe it won't be that bad. I mean, they could always walk away from the deal at the end.
Yes, but you still.
And we
want
should
them-
be covered for at least the minimum, should be covered for the inspection or the
the study.
survey study. And then they can walk away from it if they like.
That study, Matt, was that, I'm going from memory, was that like 180, 188,000, 189?
It was correct. Yep.
That's not a lot for a study.
The, remember that the overhead that was doing the flow meeting process, and that was based upon a 6-month duration, as well as the cost for traffic control to access those manholes.
How many manholes total was it, give or take?
There was five or six different meters, and I think 3 of them were out.
Couldn't you do one flow meter off the roadway between American Music Theater and read that? And if that, with the additional EDU, is going to surpass the size of the pipe, then go back through the whole thing. Because if you take that one reading and it's fine with the addition, why do you have to check everything back through?
We were looking to see what, the flow was prior to the development, and then also looking at the various pieces coming in, to see how much. We're looking at various.
I'm just saying that there's virtually no flow from the development, or very little now, so why wouldn't you take the flow that you have now, that's everybody upstream from that, take that flow, take the amount of EDUs that they want to add, mathematically add that number, and is that pipe big enough?
Let's see, you look at that for the upstream portion, the question.
And then if it's a problem, then you gotta go, because then you gotta know how big to make the pipe, how far back. Right?
I'd probably need at least another meter downstream as well. Because that pipe size increases, there's more flow that dumps into it. And just prior to.
I'm worried about right there where it's off of 30, you're also worried about where it comes in like down close to the intercept.
Correct. Because the interceptor is a larger portion of that pipe in between is a larger pipe, there's more flow there. And where that crosses the creek, it's a siphon that goes under Mill Creek.
Right.
And that is too smaller diameter. So we're also trying to determine how much flow is getting down to that point.
So one at Route 30 and one down in front of the interceptor.
Probably, yeah.
And if there's not a problem, you can stop right there, but if that's just a comment.
I think we're believing that there's a problem.
So you're pretty sure that you don't think that pipe's gonna do it?
Yeah, I mean, you have a 6-inch pressure main dumping into an 8-inch pipe from what's coming from 896 heading that way. And just based upon the numbers, you just say.
So it's 6-inch pressure down 30 and then it dumps into 8-inch gravity there right off
Like
30.
Stuff.
Oh,
Pump station dumps in at 896.
896, yeah. And then is it gravity the rest of the way down through there? Okay.
It's all 8. It's all 8 inch going down through there. To go down Bridge. Bridge and it turns to go down behind Target. It also slides to 10.
The other end here too, we like this development. And the more time it takes to get the answers that they need, the more problems
Yeah.
it causes. So, doing a little bit and then going back and doing more is time. And time is
You need a couple months. You're looking at during tourist season, that's a big.
Okay, so if you think you're that close and it's gonna have to be done, okay, that's what the survey would be. But I would still like to see us get at least covered for the survey if they walk away.
That's all part of the agreement language, and that's why I'm asking the question, so.
And then the math would be the survey and the construction would go against the, and anything that's on top of that's on them. And I agree with your treatment versus your conveyance splitting.
Good.
Great, we will hopefully be bringing that agreement back to you, for your action.
Okay, Alton Engineering Woods Gas and Go project.
We talked about this a little bit before, the White Markets down here in Bridgeport is going to be submitting a development plan to the township, which is for a gas and go. Do I need to describe that? You guys know what that is. Does include sanitary sewer facilities in that facility for the employees, and the team. HRG is the consultant preparing plans. And so there is a conflict with HRG then reviewing those plans as well. So I just wanted to hear from the authority if you want us to find an alternate engineer to do the review, or if you're still comfortable with HRG doing it.
What have we done in the past? Is there any precedent or experience with this previously?
The Donnelly property, that was an issue. We said no.
Right, that didn't go ultimately, that hasn't gone anywhere. I don't know, maybe it's still percolating somewhere, but the direction at that point was if HRG submits the application.
And I hate to say it,
Alternate.
one little dinky convenience store with one bathroom. You know, because the problem is you say, yeah, you know.
There are other issues candidly with the project. You remember the township did a transportation plan for the Bridgeport area.
Part of
And there's some rather significant improvements that were supposed to happen where this gas and go is now. So, land development plan process is going to be carefully scrutinized.
But doesn't Weiss know about the road improvements?
Oh, yeah.
So they're still pushing to get it ahead and then that kind of screws the whole project. So you,
I don't know. I don't know how PennDOT will look at it when it gets into design. Whether they'll have to look for other alternatives or if they'll just say, well, I'm gonna spend money to get rid of the gas and too early in the process to turn out. But it's sort of a side influence. It's not really a direct impact on your thoughts related to the concept. On the township side, we have David Miller Associates that reviews all land development plans that come in, unless they're preparing the plans, and then we have some that does all the DMA's submitted plans. So that's what I'm accustomed to. So
As far as the sewer part goes, it sounds like it's a pretty small, insignificant project.
it's more.
So
Yes.
why can't we just use an alternate engineer if need be? I mean, we pay for it either. I mean, it's paid for through the.
Correct, there's estimate.
So doesn't really matter to us. It sounds pretty small,
Yeah.
insignificant. So
Mhm.
if that's easiest,
Right.
that's fine.
Do you have an engineering preference in terms of that review would be?
You say if you can't use
DMA doesn't do,
sanitary.
stuff, it does. So, I mean, we're familiar with Becker, we can go to Becker, that's already with you guys.
Because of the insignificance of it. I guess that's the way I just find who's ever most convenient, easy to work with.
Thank you.
Okay. East Lampeter Sewer Authority, sewer flow update.
Brings, looking at the flows for our every 2023 versus the flow of 2020. The average daily flow for the authority in 2023 was just under 2.4 million gallons a day, 2.36. 1.4. The impact probably started about December. Flow on 2.36 and with the data rating 3.2 to 4.6. Definitely indicative. Green flows getting expensive and we have peak towards flow seasons. Right, 2 pages back to see the charts. Very high getting into the system. Talking to the staff, they generally take it personally because they put a lot of time and effort into maintaining. There, they say in their eyes, like they're not doing their job. It's out. They take it personally.
Yeah, but I've been
Pretty long.
long. Seen this rain cycle at least 3 times. And every time we, okay, let's do some, it's like, I would like to look at those 3 peak periods that I remember over the 20 some years. And where did that really fall? And I'm not saying I shouldn't. No, it's something you always should be looking for, but it's an extremely wet time of the year. And if this is only a 6-month period out of every 4 years, 4 or 5 years or longer.
Just wanted to bring it to your attention that it is stuff that's.
I just wonder how those numbers, the 4 million, how that peaked out at some of the old peak numbers I remember seeing. Because I was looking at the same charts and it was
History.
and it always had to do with rain. You just had that rainy period. Regardless what they say about climate change, it does kind of come in cycles every 6 years. So
Yeah, I think, yeah, we can certainly go back. I think we have access through the SharePoint site for flows for probably at least the past decade.
this one fell more than the other because it's steady. Yes, it did spike, but over the last 2 years of this, it hasn't been 3. Yeah. But were they normal years?
They were dry.
That's why I'm like, I know we have this data because I've looked at these sheets
Oh, yeah.
many times over the years. So is there such a thing as a 20-year sheet on this?
I could probably at least get the past. I could rather say. Use that one. Yeah. Felt like it was easy.
Yeah. Because I would look for trends, like if that trend is, the highs are just getting a little bit higher each time, then you gotta get on it. But if you're peaking out like this chart, is not something you gotta spend millions of dollars to fix.
Nick, talking to Larry, he said an area that he would like to target if he could is individual sump pumps and tanks. We thought that would be very political issue because you're looking at individuals and homes. Yeah. Actually, that's probably something that even goes beyond the authority, or so to the supervisors. There's likely words on the that was
I think the ordinance exists.
I was gonna say, I thought it did exist.
Somewhat connected to the center, so.
there. And it's more so an inspection protocol or
You have to set up times for residents to enter, having 2 people site at all times. And very time consuming.
Yeah, the effort.
The effort and the cost for a line like this, but I agree, but then you look at this short group one, it's like, wow. But now that I'm back in town, it's gonna stop raining, so,
So there's more information. So, well, that will increase this year. You can try.
but I don't look at this as a path of not doing.
That's,
I don't. And they want to have that tight system. I said, you need a little bit of filtration to keep things
You
rolling.
have to have height.
Yeah.
We have to pay for, going into the system, we have to pump it, there is expense, so he will.
So it's like, stick a pinhole in here, and it's just, you're gonna spend $50,000 to take that down a little bit. But if you see a trend line, then, and then like the Hobson Road or that asbestos line or that, there's some old lines that need work. Manholes that need work.
well, Larry said that they've done some stuff and, he said the Oak County area, for example, that they had their, bed pipes on their laterals were flush with the ground with the slide. And said they got them all changed out to the standard style, raised above ground, because like they were just taking the water. He's like, having the time to look for these like sources, which are easy fixes, which can take a lot of water in the system. Great.
We actually found some bad pipes in parking lots that are graded on jets.
So. Okay. Anything else on the sewer? Stormwater.
I think you guys have a store update.
That was the M4 update, that was it. Do we have any other business? Any other comments? Motion for adjournment. Move.
Could have you sign this, please? Rick usually signs.